The citizens' initiative Nannamata Nanna Hakku, which means my vote, my right, has submitted an urgent complaint to the Karnataka Chief Electoral Officer V. Anbukumar alleging serious threats to the health, safety and rights of booth-level officers involved in the ongoing special intensive revision of the electoral rules. The organization claimed that BLOs are facing excessive workload, long working hours, inadequate training, poor compensation and immense pressure from electoral registration officers, senior election officials and supervisors at schools and Anganwadi centers. It also questioned the CEO Karnataka's claim that the enumeration phase is progressing smoothly and will be completed by 29th July, stating that interactions with at least 20 BLOs across Karnataka reveal a very different ground reality. According to the complaint, 4 BLOs died during the first week of the SIR exercise. They include 26-year-old village administrative officer R. Bhuvana of Tumkuru, who died in a road accident after allegedly working late and receiving calls from senior officials; Manjula H., an Anganwadi worker from Shivamogga who collapsed while on duty; Sunil, a government school teacher from Bidar who reportedly suffered a heart attack during door-to-door enumeration; and Nataraj, a BLO from Bengaluru South Assembly constituency who also reportedly died of a heart attack after working late to meet SIR targets. The organization said the families of all 4 have linked the deaths to the excessive workload. The complaint also stated that election duties are affecting education and Anganwadi services. A teacher from Vijayanagara district said understaffed schools are losing teachers to election work, while an Anganwadi worker from Kodagu district said children dependent on the ICDS scheme and Anganwadi meals are also being affected. The organization further asserted that BLOs receive only 6,000 to 7,000 rupees per year, while the Election Commission says the amount is 12,000 rupees annually, which is described as inadequate considering the workload. BLOs are also expected to carry out door-to-door visits, help voters map to the 2002 electoral rules, fill and upload enumeration forms, and attend review meetings in addition to their regular duties. The complaint also opposed show-cause notices issued to 35 BLOs, arguing that it is impossible for one BLO to personally visit 1,000 to 1,500 voters within 30 days. It further alleged that many BLOs received little or no training, resulting in difficulties locating names in the 2002 electoral rules and errors such as entering 2025 voter details instead of 2002 details. The organization has demanded that withdrawal of all show-cause notices, an extension of the 30-day enumeration phase to 3 months, fresh training, written public guidelines, higher compensation, 30 lakh rupees compensation, and compassionate appointments for the families of each deceased BLO, and regulated working hours with overtime pay. It has urged the Chief Electoral Officer to take immediate corrective measures to protect the welfare, health, safety and rights of booth-level officers.
BLOs who are in charge of distributing, collecting enumeration forms of 1,000 to 1,500 voters, as we all have already realized in the previous SIR phases in 13 states, and we are seeing in front of our eyes how it's unfolding in Karnataka. 30 days is unreasonable. It is humanly impossible. They are also human beings. It is absolutely impossible because you need to make multiple visits to voters' houses. Most voters are not going to be readily giving you their documents, their details of 2002 voter rolls. So BLOs are having to distribute the form. They're having to do the mapping, especially for women who get married and come into their booth from another booth. For instance, a woman has gotten married and moved into your booth, but you have to locate her parents and grandparents' details. It has become the burden of BLOs. Actually, it has become the burden of voters, because many places BLOs are saying there is no time and there is not enough training for us to know how to go and look. So that is the other responsibility. The third thing is not only are they making multiple visits, but in order to mark a voter absent, shifted, duplicate or dead, there is a process in place that they have to comply with. They have to give evidence that this person was indeed absent, that they have made these number of visits. Then after, let's say they have distributed 50 forms that day and collected 10 forms. Once they collect, they have to either go back to their school or their home or wherever they are, and they manually enter every single thing written in the form into the BLO app. Then take a photo of the front and back of the form, take a photo of the passport size photograph we have attached, and then the form gets submitted successfully. The amount of pressure the BLOs are facing to meet these targets, to meet these deadlines, and how is it only 20% in your area, how is it only 30% in your area, the kind of pressure they are facing from higher election officials is really immense pressure. The other kind of pressure they are facing is that, as we all know, BLOs work in Anganwadi centers, they work in our local government primary schools, so which are already the site of essential fundamental rights that are being upheld, right? Of people's right to education, right to nutrition. These things are happening in Anganwadi centers and schools. When BLOs are being caught up in this, one is their children are suffering. The government schools in so many areas, for so many students, there'll be 3 teachers, and one goes on BLO duty, there'll be 2 teachers having to deal with multiple batches. So that's the other kind of pressure they're facing how can they fulfill the responsibility in Anganwadi centers and schools. They are getting calls to say, why hasn't this been dispatched, the scheme, the benefits of the scheme, the food packets or the class attendance. They're getting pressure from there also. Along with this, we need to understand that there is a gender dynamic to it. We have met BLOs who are both men and women, extremely hardworking. They are trying to do their best to protect the right to vote of the voters in their booth. But at the end of the day, most of them are middle-aged, most of them are women, many of them are pregnant, menstruating women. These are people who are expected to work from 4 a.m. in the morning to 11, 12. Women finish their duty in Anganwadi, do their BLO duty, and then they go home, and taking care of husband, children and washing vessels is also their responsibility. So there's, I think, a kind of apathy and blindness to the fact that these people are human beings on whom you have imposed this additional duty, additional burden. 4 BLOs have already died in Karnataka. One was a 26-year-old woman who had attended, and these BLOs are all supposed to attend these meetings at their taluk or DC offices also. So she was a BLO supervisor. She attended a meeting till late night and was asked to do biometric entry early in the morning at 6:30. She was receiving calls while riding the bike, and once she kept the call, a truck hit her and she died. She was 26-year-old. The other 3 BLOs died of a sudden heart attack. And these are all 45, 50, that kind of an age group. There is absolute apathy to the rights of BLOs. This is an issue of labor rights. Their working hours, the responsibilities, and absolute meager compensation. They're being paid pittance. They are, some have told us 6,000 per year. Some have told us 12,000 per year for BLO duties. So it is very clear that they are being exploited to another level. So we filed a memorandum on behalf of My Vote, My Right to highlight especially this issue and ask for immediate remedy. Extend the 30-day deadline. There is no reason that Karnataka SIR needs to end on 29 July. We don't have assembly elections coming. There is no reason. We need, if your objective is to include every eligible voter, then you need to account for what is happening on the ground. You need to account for working hours and pay them extra. Our demand is also that if they're working overtime, pay them overtime. We have also demanded, of course, a compensation of 30 lakh each for the family of the 4 deceased BLOs and compassionate appointments for a member of their family. So this memorandum specifically highlights our concerns about their health, their safety and their rights in the context of labor rights. Their rights as in they're exploited.